I want to bring in Elyse Thulin. She's a research assistant professor at the University of Michigan's Institute for Firearm Injury Prevention. Elyse, thank you for joining me. We also want to note that today marks 13 years since the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School that killed 20 first graders and 6 adult staffers. What have you learned in your research about how to effectively prevent school shootings?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that not one strategy is going to solve this problem. It's a complex one. It's very dynamic. And so we need to have overlapping complementary systems in place. Think about Swiss cheese. Where there are holes, you want to have multiple pieces to make sure we have full coverage.
Elyse, we're seeing a generation right now that can potentially survive multiple mass shootings by the time they finish college. What needs to happen to stop this?
Goodness, yeah. This is such an unfortunate reality that some individuals are facing. We know that this happened also with the Oxford shooting, followed by the MSU shooting, where we had students who had survived both of those as well. We need more prevention. We need more research on evidence-based ways to prevent. A lot of this looks at thinking upstream, right? So we can have policies in place. That's one type of way we can go about that. So thinking about removing firearms from individuals who are showing distress signs, who are not in a safe place to have those firearms. We can think about kind of closer to point of event things like anonymous reporting systems and ensuring that individuals can share information about concerns. And then we can think about, during an active crisis, how do we mitigate the magnitude of harm? So thinking about, shooting drills, active shooter drills, and ensuring that individuals can respond when they are in a crisis to try to mitigate the magnitude of that harm.
Now, Elyse, you were part of a recent study that found more than a third of middle school students have used apps, websites, or even hotlines to report concerns about friends who are in distress. Is that a sign students are applying these prevention lessons?
Yeah, I think students are really actively thinking about what's going on in their lives. We're seeing a crisis in terms of mental health with students overall and a feeling of hopelessness. I think that has to do with a lot of reasons, but school shootings are certainly part of that and the concern. We heard earlier about the distress that individuals feel. It's not just within the communities. That certainly, of course, is a priority area to address, but this reverberates across the nation. There are students who are thinking tonight about going to school tomorrow and wondering if they're going to be safe. And every event that happens exacerbates that feeling. So we're really happy that students have spaces where they can report concerns. And that includes things like mental health concerns about a fellow student who might be down, a student who's becoming withdrawn, a student who's showing indications of escalating violence that could lead to something like a mass harm event.
So what shouldn't do in terms of what they want to report if they do have concerns?
Yeah, so 34 out of 50 states have statewide anonymous reporting systems in their K through 12 schools. So in those states, those are a great venue to go through. Letting someone know, letting a trusted adult know, reaching out through tip lines is all important. One thing I would love to see is an expansion of those tip lines within university systems. That's been very challenging for a variety of reasons in terms of coordination with law enforcement and existing university policies. There's been some good work done in Colorado about this, but we can see more expansion. I think that would really help. But at the end of the day, we all want to feel safe in our communities, and we all want our friends and our loved ones to do well in the world. And we all need to be reaching out. If we see something, we need to say something and do our best to look out for one another because we're in a state where these are pressing concerns.
Yes, Elyse Thulin, thank you very much.